12,800 years ago, the world was locked in the grip of the last great ice age. Vast sheets of ice stretched across continents, their edges gnawing at the land, while ancient forests stood like silent sentinels over frozen lakes. Mammoths lumbered across the tundra, their heavy steps shaking the ground. Saber-toothed cats stalked the shadows, and small bands of humans resourceful, determined, carved out their existence at the edge of survival. Life was a daily struggle, but it was also a delicate balance, a dance between hunter and hunted, guided by the rhythms of nature and the slow, relentless advance of the glaciers. Yet, beneath this world of snow and silence, a hidden danger was drawing near. Far above, in the cold darkness of space, a cosmic clock was ticking down to a moment that would shatter the world's fragile order. No one on Earth could have known what was coming. The stars, so familiar and comforting, held a secret that would change everything. On a night like any other, as the wind whispered through the pines and the sky glittered with constellations, something extraordinary happened. Without warning, the heavens erupted in a blinding flash. A comet, broken into countless fragments, tore through the atmosphere. It was not a single earth-shattering blow, but a barrage storm of fire and ice aimed at the heart of the North American ice sheet. The impact was beyond anything the world had ever seen. The air itself caught fire, igniting a blaze that dwarfed any forest fire. The ground heaved and buckled as if the earth itself was crying out in pain. Shockwaves raced across the land, flattening forests, toppling mountains, and sending terror through every living creature. In an instant, trillions of tons of ice and rock were hurled into the sky, punching holes in the atmosphere and blotting out the sun with a churning cloud of ash and debris. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that bring history's greatest mysteries to life. The aftermath was chaos. Ash fell like snow, smothering the land and turning day into night. Rivers overflowed, carving new paths through the ruined landscape. The temperature plummeted, not slowly, but in a sudden, brutal descent. The warming trend that had been melting the ice was violently reversed. The world was thrust back into a deep freeze, an age of cold and darkness that would last for more than 1,000 years. This was the Younger Dryas period of sudden, severe, global cooling that left scientists puzzled for generations. For centuries, the cause of the Younger Dryas remained a mystery. Volcanic eruptions were considered, but none matched the scale of the disaster. Solar flares were ruled out. The evidence just didn't fit. Then, in the early 21st century, a new theory began to take shape: the Younger Dryas Impact hypothesis. Researchers studying ancient sediments across North America, Greenland, and Europe found strange clues. Rare elements like iridium, usually found in meteorites, microscopic diamonds, and fullerenes, carrying extraterrestrial helium, shocked quartz, deformed by unimaginable pressure, and tiny magnetic spheres formed from molten rock. These were the fingerprints of a cosmic impact, evidence that something from beyond our world had struck with catastrophic force. The consequences were devastating. The impact didn't just freeze the planet, it set vast forests ablaze, leaving behind a black mat of charcoal and soot in the geological record. Imagine entire landscapes burning, the sky choked with smoke, the air thick with the smell of ash and death. The Clovis, people-skilled hunters and craftsmen, the first known inhabitants of North America, vanished almost overnight. Their tools, their culture, their way of life disappeared from history, swept away by fire and ice. The great beasts they hunted, mammoths, mastodons, giant sloths, were driven to extinction. The world's ecosystems collapsed, and the survivors faced a landscape transformed beyond recognition. For those who lived through it, the world was unrecognizable. Familiar hunting grounds were buried or destroyed. The herds that once roamed the plains were gone. The land itself was frozen and barren. Humanity was forced to start over, to relearn how to survive in a world that no longer followed the old rules. Much of what had been learned and passed down through generations was lost in the chaos. But from this devastation came transformation. The Younger Dryas Impact forced people to adapt, to innovate, to find new ways to live. The old ways roaming the land in search of game were no longer enough. In the fertile valleys of the Middle East, survivors began to experiment with planting wild grains and domesticating animals. It was not a sudden revolution, but a slow, desperate process, born out of necessity. The seeds of civilization were sown in the ashes of catastrophe. This was the beginning of the agricultural revolution, the moment when humans first settled down, built villages, and began to shape the land to their needs. The impact had pressed a reset button on society, pushing humanity onto a new path. It explains the sudden rise of complex societies, the construction of mysterious monuments like Göbekli Tepe and Turkey structures that hint at lost knowledge and a level of organization once thought impossible for that era. The story of the Younger Dryas Impact is still unfolding. Each new discovery adds another piece to the puzzle, challenging our understanding of history and reminding us of the power of forces beyond our control. It is a story of destruction and rebirth, of loss and resilience. It shows us that civilization is not a straight line, but a cycle of creation and catastrophe. As we look up at the night sky today, we see the echoes of that ancient disaster. We know now that the universe is not a silent backdrop, but a place of constant change and occasional violence. The obsidian tears left in the Earth's crust are a warning, a reminder that our world can change in an instant, and that survival depends on our ability to adapt. The Younger Dryas Impact is more than a chapter in a textbook. It is a story of humanity's greatest trial and our greatest strength. It asks us to reconsider what we know about our past and to wonder what other secrets the Earth still holds. And as we ponder these mysteries, we are left with a single, haunting question. When the universe plays its hand again, will we be ready? If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Join us next time as we continue to uncover the hidden stories that shaped our world.